Okay, so good morning, and I wanted to thank all of you for taking the time to sit with us here at the Community College Board for a few minutes and talk about enrollment strategies in your districts. We have here today Dave Sanders, who's the president of Malcolm X College. If folks don't know, that's in Chicago. Clint Gabbard at McHenry County College in McHenry County, and Tim Taylor from Shawnee Community College, way down there in Olin, Illinois, in Southern Illinois. So thank all three of you. I want to thank all three of you for taking the time. And just to ask you a couple of questions, the three institutions represented here, McHenry County College, Malcolm X, and Shawnee, were the only three community colleges that did have enrollment increases over the course of the last semester in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic. So I wanted to ask each of you if you could just address real briefly a couple of questions about this. And the first, and maybe we can start with Clint, if that's okay. How did the COVID-19 pandemic really affect your planning for enrollment strategies this fall?
Thanks, Brian. There's an almost seductive power within any organization to sort of fall in love with your processes and begin to believe that they are the most rational, intuitive processes that exist on the face of the earth. And in fact, when it comes to colleging, first generation students, adult students, don't find our processes intuitive or necessarily rational. So this pandemic created an opportunity to be a massive disruption. It was a horrible disruption, but it allowed us to really challenge every process that we were doing. Every form needed to be brought online, needed to be a fillable PDF. We needed offices to be able to handle multiple questions at once because we were at further than arm's length from our students. And so we cut through a lot of red tape in the spring that got us ready for the fall. We also really created an all hands on deck process in terms of people who had to move into more virtual work from home settings and had some time on their hands. We gave them an opportunity to begin to do multiple things at the college, all that touched where students were living and their struggles in terms of being able to navigate this new, mostly online world. So we had student navigators in every section of every class in the spring and are continuing that this fall. And this included cafeteria workers, mailroom clerks, custodial folks. These people would have been put into a standby status, but we brought them in, gave them some training and put them in place for every section so that they could assist students who were just trying to figure out this online learning for the first time. We have a talent sharing pool where people regularly say, I've got 2 hours, 3 hours that I can invest in anything you want me to do. And a lot of that has been thrown into contacts with students this summer and into the fall, getting them ready, helping them understand their options, because we chose to keep about 20% of our classes face-to-face. And we added those classes as students voted with their registrations. We discovered that students really still wanted to be on campus whenever possible. And so, yes, we had flex classes and hybrid classes and online classes, but we kept some students here. And we think that that made a difference in enrollment as well.
Great, thank you, thank you. Dave, maybe same question. How did the pandemic affect your strategizing this year?
Yeah, thanks, Brian. So I think we followed a similar pattern as Clint did. And a lot of the work that he has already espoused as things that we've done. You know, we look at our institution and all of our employees as an ecosystem where we have to work together collaboratively in order for us to achieve our objectives. So even the janitor is a part of our enrollment process. And we did some of the similar things in moving them from, you know, the work that they would have normally done on campus to now more of the student facing work, making calls, helping students to be able to enroll and register. We did some other things though as well, and that was working on technology to ensure that all of our students had access to computers, hotspots, things like that. So that helped us as we moved into the fall, that students were aware that we were going to have these supports available and ready for them to use. The other thing I think is that we really had already begin, part of the process that we have here is a risk mitigation plan where we figure out, what's the possibility or potential of things that happen in the future. So we had already done online orientation. And so we just need to expand that and then bring student services online where it, had been face-to-face. So that was challenging and difficult. And there, I will not tell you that it was an easy process, nor one that our staff enjoyed, but it was successful in the fact that we were able to, take an all hands on deck approach, and everyone began to work together to achieve the objective. And as we begin to see the numbers rise, they felt some pride in the efforts that they were taking. I think that the last thing is that we saw some opportunities for us to engage in early college and really address with our local high schools how they could take advantage of the programs that we have here. We're doing it remote, they're doing it remote. Why not take advantage of the opportunity to get dual credit on both sides of the equation? And they were like, yeah, let's do this. And so that was one of the areas that fueled our growth and helped us to achieve our objectives.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Dave. So Tim, same question, strategies?
Certainly. Just to add to a little, we did many of the things that my colleagues have described as well, but I think in terms of the planning approach, we are really focusing on trying to understand the needs of a new generation of students, our non-traditional students. We understand that those needs are a little bit different than their millennial parents' needs. And so we're trying to customize their experience so that it interests them and so that they are totally want to engage with us. I think that's an important element. That's something that work continues today, but it's one of the things that we had started back in April, and I think that has helped us position the college in a better place for enrollment for the fall semester. And we'll talk more about actions, I think, in the next question.
Yeah, well, thank you. And why don't we just go ahead, Tim, and you can maybe transition us. What are some of the specific actions that you felt really contributed to that increase?
Sure, I would say that there's probably about 5 different things that, in total that really helped us. One of them is we use CARES Act funding to purchase technology, things like laptops, Wi-Fi jetpacks, and webcams so that we could loan the students. Our marketing and advertisement really changed significantly as well. We increased our social media presence, our TV and newspaper and radio ads as well. The message focus, though, was clear, and it wasn't really focused on the pandemic, but it was wanting to have people understand that they have new time available. They're maybe on unemployment. So take advantage of this time and use it productively. That was one of our message focuses. Again, we didn't focus on COVID. Instead, we focused on things like a safe return to campus. We wanted students to feel like they had a sense of security. We emphasized the educational delivery options as being face-to-face, online, and hybrid, so that we can promote that sense that students knew that we were open for business. We did a lot of video production as well. We used the time that was generally reserved for in-person events. We've developed program spots for both transfer and CTE programs. We developed testimonial videos from faculty and students where they would provide valuable tips and resources to be successful in not only in the virtual online environment, but in college in general. We provided guided tour program videos. For example, if you were to look up at our truck driving, we have a video where it actually shows a student entering into the cockpit of a truck. And in the background, the instructor is describing what it's like to be a CDL over the road driver. We did a guided tour video on a day in the life of a Shawnee student. We did a video on Science in Seconds, which is basically a 32-minute video series where our biology faculty takes the folks on a hike to learn about local flora and fauna. This was very popular on our Facebook and was also shown and covered on on TV news twice. A third thing we did is we modified our orientation course that we call College Survival. we renamed it Pandemic Mode, and we offered it in a face-to-face format. In this course, we shifted the focus to technology interaction, specifically as it had to do with interacting with the college's website, the student portal, maneuvering through Moodle, and interacting with Zoom. Fourth thing we did is we offered all of our student services virtual: advisement, financial aid, tutoring, testing. And I think the fifth thing we did that really helped was we waived online fees.
Great. Dave, a couple of things, a couple of really specific actions you would want to call out that you haven't mentioned?
Sure. So I think one of the best things that we did was our virtual college exploration week, where we had our faculty and staff to participate in a session and that allowed students to address any questions or concerns that they had. We were able to distill out our programs. We had a panel discussion with parents as well as students on there. So it was a very successful session. I think it was really important for us to get that information out there because there was, wonderment about whether or not we were even going to offer programming, and we were able to address those questions. I think the other thing we did, which is similar to what Tim just talked about, is we did videos relative to our response to COVID. So we wanted to ensure everyone that coming to campus, because we also had about 20% of our programming here on campus, was safe and effective, and that the protocols we were taking were going to ensure their safety. And the reason I believe that that was helpful is that our union came and they said, this is the gold standard to protection. That helped us because once you get the employees believing that they're going to be safe on campus, they're going to say that to the students, and that helped the students to feel like they were in a good place in order to achieve their objectives.
Clint, a couple of things specifically?
You bet. Our late start courses where we started later in the semester and offered 8-week and 12-week courses made a huge difference for those folks who had a university goal and they just got right up to the moment and decided this was not going to be for them and stayed at home so that they could work, save some money. We had great response to those courses. We got emergent need funding out quickly to students. We've had an unprecedented fall in terms of giving, just people coming out of the woodwork to say, I want to support what you're doing, and taking that money and quickly getting it to that car repair, that flat tire that needs replaced, that utility bill that is the difference in being able to pay your tuition or not, has been an important piece because it doesn't take much for somebody to fall off the table, and keeping them on is just one more step towards momentum. And I guess I would just say the other thing generally is we've never communicated more with our students in more modes. And so texting, emailing, calling from various people, just saying, how you doing? Can we help you? Is there anything that would help you to go ahead and get registered for the fall? I think really did make a difference.
Great. I think all three of you have touched on really what will be our last question here, but thinking about some of the things we've seen statewide, very clearly there are some obstacles to enrollment that low income, first generation, students of color, students in depressed areas, rural students in many ways are facing throughout this pandemic. Maybe shed a little light on what some of those are that you've seen and some of the things your colleges have done to help students overcome those obstacles. And Dave, maybe if you don't mind, we can start with you.
Sure. So similar to my colleagues, we use CARES Act funds to obviously address some of the issues that our students were having and ensuring that we address some of those social, emotional issues that they had. We expanded the work that we had in our wellness center to make counseling services available to our students even more broadly. But one of the greatest things we did, and I have to thank our chancellor for that, is that we married not only CARES Act monies, we married CARES Act money with $1 million that we got from our foundation to address student need. And we also set aside a special fund for undocumented students, because we have a number of those students here. That was a tremendous support for our students. The other thing is we're part of ILEA, the Illinois Equity in Action Plan. And we had already distilled that program out, put it on the web for everyone to see. And we've already started working on some of the initiatives to address that. So I think there was a combination of things that happened there. The third thing, and I think that was most important, is we went back and decided to go 10 years to forgive debt for students who were on the track to getting their degree, but ran into financial circumstances, couldn't continue. And the chancellor put out that we're going to forgive that debt. All you have to do is get back on the track, stay on the track, and you won't have to repay that. That opened the door to a number of students who would not normally have been able to come back. So I think those are some of the steps that we took that helped our success.
Great, great. Clint, maybe you could address?
Sure. David, that's a great idea. We also went in with a loan forgiveness or an earn to learn, where you earned back those dollars that you owed. And what a great thing when a couple $100 owed kept a person from registering. So great choice on your part. Early intervention was a big deal for us. These navigators who continue to sit in classes are able to spot any early warning sign of struggle. And what we know is that the struggles aren't unique to any of our colleges. They're financial, they're emotional, they are familial in nature. It's the work conflicts, but just having an extra person looking on that course to spot a problem and get them connected to resources can make a huge difference. And again, we had someone step forward to fill in a gap when it looked like CARES Act funding was not going to be available for undocumented students. We had someone step forward and say, that's the group that we want to support. Let's let the feds figure that out, but we want money specifically targeted to first generation students. And so being able to have a pot of money to go out and look for that quality student who might not be eligible for the federal funding was a big deal.
Great, great. Tim?
Sure. I think the challenges for low income and minority students are well documented in the research. I mean, they're probably within 6 or 7 areas, including college readiness, familial support, financial stability, food insecurity, digital divide, transportation, and then low academic self-esteem and a difficulty adjusting to college. In terms of college readiness, we've been working with the K-12s to enhance the students' ability to pass a placement exam and make sure that they understand the requirements that are necessary in order to enter into and hit the college ready to run and learn about college level courses. We're looking at developing a free AccuPlacer prep course that we're going to offer online for free. We're going to be doing a prerequisite analysis and may consider entrance scores that are program specific. In terms of familial support, we understand our low income and minority students have obligations, have children that are caretaking of extended family. They have detractors around them and they have distractions as well. And this is particularly enhanced in an online and virtual environment. So we've been providing access at our extension centers so that they can go there if they need a quiet place. We have wired our parking lots, so if they want to come in and get on the internet in our parking lots, they're more than welcome to do so. And we're developing a video series that addresses many of these issues of familial support. In terms of financial stability, we're ensuring that all of our advisors are cross-trained to help students access financial aid. Financial aid advising is available online and in real time. We're looking to integrate chatbots to assist with 24/7, 365 advising, particularly as it relates to financial aid. And we're also looking at developing an interactive video series on that. In terms of food insecurity, the college is the Gabbard, and the Gabbard provides online order form for students and curbside pickup. And we are also focusing on helping our advisors connect students to local resources as well. In terms of the digital divide and quiet places to learn, I already talked about the extension centers, talked about the laptops and Wi-Fi, jetpacks, and webcam program. But we're also going to be working with community organizations to see if they will allow students to have Wi-Fi access at their organizations. In terms of transportation, we have bus service to our extension centers and main campus. And finally, in terms of low academic self-esteem, we're enhancing our retention alert focus. We're making more contacts each semester. We're utilizing text messaging applications to reach out to students. We're exploring ways to connect Colleague, which is our enterprise management software, with Moodle, our learning management system. Our advisors are providing a more thorough analysis of student grades in preparation to help the students make more intelligent course selection. And then advisors are prepared to assist students as well with mental health issues and making referrals.
Great. Well, you know, I want to thank all three of you for taking a few minutes to talk through these really important topics, and also just say that in Illinois, all 48 community colleges across the 39 districts are committed to their students, are committed to working through the challenges of the pandemic, and are implementing many of the things that the presidents here have discussed. And ultimately, I would say finally, are very much open for business. And we really want to emphasize how important it is for students to understand that colleges are doing everything they can to support them and to keep students safe as they go forward. So thank you again, gentlemen. I appreciate all your insights. Yep. And I hope you have a great day.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for the opportunity, and great work, Tim and David. Congratulations to your teams, because it is a village, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And Brian, if you wouldn't mind sharing our contact information as part of the video series, I'll be glad to talk with anyone who's interested in giving them more in-depth information than we were able to provide here this morning.
Absolutely will. Absolutely will.
Thanks, Tim, Clint, Brian. It's absolutely wonderful to be with you all today, and I think our 48 colleges are going to be the better for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys.
All right.